There's a project that's been brewing in my mind for quite some time. And this is the first seed that I'm planting that is more overtly representative of the project. There have been other seeds that have been planted, but not as direct as this. And this recording is definitely going to be situated on the One Person Enterprise podcast, and then placed onto onepersonenterprise.com. So I think I said that right the first time. It is 2:11 in the morning. I just left a shift 9 to 2 at the door of the Green Parrot in Chicks Beach. So, I mean, it is sort of mind-numbing in a lot of ways. The time passed by pretty quickly in some ways. It was just mostly me daydreaming and checking people's IDs. And I've been looking forward to it because my days have become pretty monotonous again, even though it's been enjoyable and I put myself on my own schedule. I've basically been doing the same thing day in and day out, and I've been looking forward to the variety, and this is exactly the kind of thing that I need. So, but moving on to the seed that's being planted here. It is very simply a commercial enterprise. And once again, One Person Enterprise podcast, this is going to be placed on, and the onepersonenterprise.com blog. I'll embed the podcast there. And so this is also an experiment, and it's going to be basically, this is the process. So I'm giving the whole experiment here. It's pretty simple. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start with my books that I have for sale on Amazon, as well as books.buy/Unequilibrium. And some of the books are the same on both of those stores. And there are some that are in the World Reading Club store, that's books.buy/Unequilibrium. And I think there might be one or two that are on Amazon that are not on the books.buy store. So, but either way, even when there are overlaps, what I'm going to do is simply, first I'm going to start with Google Gemini, because Google is tapped into finding things I found a little bit better as far as some of my books go than DeepSeek R1 is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in certain links to my books to Google Gemini, and or if I have to, I'm going to copy and paste the descriptions of my various books or other information that I'll generate. Or another thing that I may even do is, because I have the manuscripts in PDF form, which this might even work better, I think it might be, I might just actually forego some of those other things I was thinking and just upload the PDFs. That would actually be better. I'll actually upload the PDFs both to Google Gemini and to DeepSeek. And what I'm going to ask them to do is basically write me 30-second to 60-second commercials. So basically commercial copy that I can read as audio. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the copy, and they're going to go onto a podcast. And the plan that I had was to simply create an entire new podcast that was just simply going to describe what I'm doing, which is basically, it's going to be something like, Uniquilibrium audio commercials, or Uniquilibrium audio advertisements, or something like that. Just something really generic and simple that really is just labeling what they are. And that's it. Like, really just simply have a podcast and just audio recordings where I read commercials for my books at first, because there are several of them, so that should give me plenty of material to start with. And so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take that same audio and I'm going to use that audio to make YouTube videos with. And the YouTube videos that I'm going to make are all going to be, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to ask DeepSeek and maybe Google Gemini to provide me with prompts to generate images that I can use as panels. So I'm going to ask it for, I'll even ask what the appropriate amount for. It might say that I should generate 6 or 10 different images that I'm going to put into the UCut editor, and for the 60-second copy, probably with one of my multi-dimensional, multi-spatial audio recordings that were inspired by binaural beats, my demi-phased audios, or which is short for demi-cerebral neurophasing. But I'm going to take one of these audios and put it, lower in the background as I simply read, and I'm going to ask what would be the appropriate images that would fit in, the 16:9 YouTube video style, the proper size for videos, the horizontal videos, for just 1 minute. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it would be even better if I do them vertical and just do YouTube Shorts. Since we're going to be 67, maybe I just start there. I don't know. I'll figure that out by the time I get home. And so I'm going to so it's basically, I'm going to work with the AI to determine what would be best for me what images would be best that are representative of the books that I'm creating these 60-second commercials for. And then it's going to give me anywhere from, 4 to 10 or more images that I'm going to put into the UCut editor, and I'm going to take the audio that was 60 seconds or however long it takes me to read it, and I'm going to put it into the editor with those images and let them play, so that there's some movement, some images going on in the videos, and I'm just going to basically post them on YouTube as shorts, and just once again very simply label them what they are. It's going to say something like intrusion vector book commercial ad, or something like that, right? Or just really something simple, because I'm not trying to trick anybody or beat around the bush, or there's just there's no beating around. All I'm doing is just putting it out there that these books are available, and that and where to get them, and the links and all that So, and it's really simple. The idea I had was because, and years ago, I mean, a lot of people know this, that YouTube was bought by Google many moons ago. And so because of that, things that show up on YouTube are very searchable through Google. And now we've got Google Gemini, the AI, and so there's been certain things that I've checked and tested, looking up my books and things like that through Google Gemini and Google to see how the information matches up. And this is going to be a way to improve my searchability by really just simply, I'm going to just be labeling what everything is, what categories they're in, what they're about, and I'm going to make sure that I request that the AI give really compelling descriptions about the books, but without giving away the plot or any spoilers, and find ways to tweak it and have the AI do the best job that I can possibly get out of them to write these descriptions and to properly place the links and make titles for the videos and all that, so that it will maximize the discoverability. And I'm just going to put up a whole bunch of them. And now that I think about it, I am going to simply create a whole new podcast that is all about commercial audio. And that'll just be a category of my podcast. It's just going to be one of my podcasts that is just going to be straight commercials. And the point is not that because I want people to just log into the podcast and listen to commercials, although some people will for some reason. And that's fine. But it's to increase the optics, the searchability, the discoverability of my work. So that when basically I'm making it known that I have certain things, because there are certain people who are looking for those certain things, and if it's not discoverable, then I'm doing a disservice to those people who are looking for what I have to offer. And that's really, to me, the fundamentals of what business is, right? It's like I have something to offer, and there are people looking for things that I have to offer. So if I don't make it known, then it's irresponsible business-wise, and just, even socially and community-wise. I have something that people want, but if they don't know that I have it, how are they going to get their hands on it? So I have to make sure that I provide the service properly and make sure that it's as discoverable as possible, so then the public can make the decision whether or not they're going to be into my work and want to support it or not. But that's not going to happen if they don't know about it. So that's really the mission. It's a very simple one. It's pretty straightforward, and it's an experiment. And I know from many other things that I've done that it's going to work. I also know that I haven't done this specific thing before, and that even though I'm going to place this podcast on the One Person Enterprise podcast, I'm doing it before anybody else that I know of. I've known anybody just to do that. I'm not saying that I'm the first person on earth or ever to do it, but I'm simply going to do it for my works and keep on testing it. And the whole idea is because of the fact that the podcasting software that I use, Spreaker, has a broad distribution network. And so once I turn on the distribution for this new podcast and put the same commercial titles on YouTube, and then start sharing them elsewhere as well, and link them through to each other, it's going to increase the discoverability. Again, I've experimented with things in a similar way, not exactly, and found that it in fact has increased the discoverability of several of my works. And so this is just another step in that direction. And it's also going to be a way to help me to systematize and make more efficient this tech stack that I'm using. I was calling it an AI stack before. I've been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk a little bit more, and he calls what he uses a tech stack. So I'm adopting that just because. But AI stack, I'm really, it's an artificial intelligence. Same, it's not that different. It's a tech stack. Call it those things. And also, even though I don't seek validation from outside sources, I do what I'm going to do anyway and figure out a lot of things. However, I have been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk on and off. I binge watch and listen to his stuff for several years now, and he's been pretty spot on about a lot of things. And although I haven't figured out how to or even feel completely right about some of the things that he suggests by being on like 9 different social media channels with 50 different handles and different things like that, I can implement some of the things, because one of the things he talks about is posting. Just recently, one of his more recent videos that, at least recent to me, that I saw, he talked about posting on YouTube every day about your business or about what you do. And he also mentioned the connection to, the fact that Google owns YouTube. And he wasn't talking about Gemini that much before. I've been using Gemini for a long time, but he's more increasingly started to talk about Gemini. And it's because it's an AI that was created by Google. So, and I found that it's actually a really simple way that's right now barrier free. And as he talks about a lot in his language, I'm not saying it's originally his, he's just the one that I have learned a lot of stuff from, but it's underpriced attention. And so I found that a lot of things that I've created in conjunction with my AI tech stack, which it consists of Galaxy AI, which I'm recording this with the Galaxy voice recorder or Galaxy recorder. I think it's is it voice recorder or just Galaxy recorder? I don't know. I think it's Galaxy voice recorder. And then the Galaxy AI does a passable job of creating transcript. And so then I take that transcript and I feed it to DeepSeek and Gemini, and they both make different kinds of analysis and maybe sometimes executive summaries. Although one of the things I'm going to start doing at the end of actually I already did it in a recent podcast that I already published, is I'm going to at the end speak directly to the AIs so that in the transcript they can read it in the transcript that I'm making a request. And so I'm going to start doing that so that I'm making it more efficient, so that I'm really literally speaking more of the steps into the audio recording. And it's just a really simple way for me to do things, like for the fact of the matter that I've been driving for 18 minutes right now. And so it makes it efficient, and it leaves the door open so people can hear what I'm doing. And because I'm not the most popular podcaster on the world, it's not like it's going to get oversaturated really fast. Once people find out what I'm doing, it's because it's been effective, and then they might start copying and following suit, especially people who want to combine really simple low-tech ways with the high-tech stack, which is just simply stream of consciousness, speaking, recording, transcribing, and then letting the AI get a hold of it and help with the marketing, advertising, promotion, maybe sales, but it's really about attention and distribution. So I've got the distribution. Now I need to get attention to it. And this is an experiment that I'm going to carry out as far as I feel like it and just keep going. And so, but I've actually already started, so it's not like this is really not the first one. It's just a different level of how I'm doing it. I've already started it and experimented with it and seen results, tangible results from what's going on. So my plans have been working out. I mean, even now what I'm talking about, as much as I'm revealing, if that's the correct way to state that, it's still nowhere near what I've been doing. I mean, it's just, there's so many things that I do so quickly and that I'm just in action of doing that it would take a really long time to verbally speak all the stuff that I'm doing. But I found ways to I don't what I guess what would be the word, I don't know, to I'm curious what kind of term that would be, that the fact that I am able to simultaneously deploy lots of different strategies as tactics, and just seeing these results. So this is what this brainstorming session is part of. So like I said, this is going to go on One Person Enterprise podcast and blog. But then I'm quickly going to shift to, I'm going to create an entirely new podcast on Spreaker. And I'll come up with the name soon. It's going to be, I don't know, something. It's got to be, I don't know. Maybe UPC, Unique Equilibrium Publishing Commercials, or CUP, Commercials of Unique Equilibrium Publishing. Yeah, I think UPC, right? Because there's already a UPC, a Universal something. What is that code? I don't know. But I wish it would sound good as CUP. Commercial Unique Equilibrium Publication. It would, if I was doing it in French or something like that, then it would be Commercials Unique Equilibrium Publishing. Or actually I could just call it Commercial Unique Equilibrium Publishing. Yeah. Cup, why not? I like a cup. You drink from a cup. Cup is a common word. I could call it PCU, Publishing Commercials Unique Equilibrium. I don't know, right? Like, what the hell? I'm just gonna write them all, but I'm gonna make it as cup. It's gonna be cup. It's Commercial Unique Equilibrium Publishing. That's it. It's just as simple as that. But I don't even know. I mean, I'm gonna crank out a couple of them soon, like in moments. I'm parking right now. So, but I've just had to brainstorm this. I'm going to publish this, and this is really me just getting on the scene with it. I'm not wasting any time. It's, it's me answering a question that I ask myself, every day now. Just like how I've been doing my breathing meditation in the morning. That sometimes gets up to a few hundred breaths by the time I start spacing out as I'm waking up and getting into the flow of my day, and then going over the SMART goals, SMART, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So, all right, so let me just I'm going to quickly review, what am I doing here? I am establishing on one person enterprise that I am launching a new podcast with a very specific goal in mind. And the podcast is going to be called either Uniquilibrium Publishing Commercials or Publishing Commercials Uniquilibrium or Publishing Uniquilibrium Commercials, PUC, or Commercial Uniquilibrium Publishing. I do not know yet, but I will be figuring it out soon. And the process that's going to go into this is that I'm going to feed my transcripts to my AI stack, a dual AI stack right now, because I can't upload PDFs to Galaxy yet that I know of, but I can do that with both DeepSeek R1 AI and Google Gemini's AI, and ask them to come up with 60-second commercials, that audio commercial scripts, audio commercial copy that are enticing to potential readers, that get them to be interested in finding, what the genre and the subject of the book is. That's going to reach out to the people most likely to want to read the material that's contained in the book. And for the highest reachability, searchability, discoverability. And I said I'm going to do it for books. But I'm also going to have them generate prompts to make image panels that will blend into each other as I take the audio commercials that I've read and recorded, and not only am I going to publish them as podcast, but I am then going to publish them as YouTube videos using those image panels as the images. I'm also going to put some effects on them so they're never just still images on the screen. They're going to be like waving and fluttering and just doing different things with just some simple effects on there. And they're also going to have added some binaural beats inspired demi-phase audios. And I don't know if I'm going to get those on the podcast at first, because it's much simpler for me to do it when I get it on when I use UCut for the videos. It lets me layer in that stuff. I mean, I can do it with this other audio editing software that I have, but I'm wondering if I really want to go through that step. I just want to make this as streamlined as possible so that I can just get it done quickly. Maybe once I get a first wave of them out, then maybe I'll start adding more tech to my stack. And I know the capability, because I do have an audio editing, software that I can use. And this is all on my mobile devices. And if I'm going to have my Chromebook open, and I'm going to be online, and I'm going to be messing around with stuff here and there, but it's all going to be started from my mobile devices. Like right now I'm recording on my Galaxy. So now that I've gone over that, what I'm doing, now this next part is for DeepSeek R1 AI and or Google Gemini's AI. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to create an executive summary based on what I've gone over in this recording and what you can mine from the transcript, noting that the transcript is going to have many errors because Galaxy AI frequently makes a lot of mistakes. And you're going to create an executive summary that pulls out the most organized and coherent structure that you can, so that I can execute this plan in the most efficient way. And so that also, once I apply what's been mined from this plan that I've laid out here, I can simply take that structure and easily implement it for when I create these audio commercials. So it's just a rinse and repeat cycle. I just want to make it as streamlined as possible. And so you're going to create the executive summary that's going to present the plan and all the steps and directions to get it done. And then you're going to inform me that you've done that once you've output. And what I'm also going to need is for you to then, like I said, acknowledge once you've done that, and then I'm going to provide you with 2 more prompts that I already have made that are going to have you create metadata for the commercial podcast and then also for the blog embed. So I don't know, this might actually be a completely new mission for the AI Stack team, because this is something I've already done before, but now it's slightly being changed, because now these are for these audio commercials. And so maybe the AI tech stack has to include some more information here, but I think I'm going to figure that out as I go along, because I already have pre-made prompt templates to create all the metadata that I need for the blog post and the podcast. So, but now this is a tweaked project that is very specific to the commercials, the audio commercials. So there may be some addendums or slight tweaks to the prompts that need to be made for this specific branch of this deployment. And so you'll advise me on what's best to do with that. So that's what this last part was for DeepSeek R1's AI and Gemini's AI. And we'll move forward from there. This is One Person Enterprise, and I am Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander.